Hello everyone, my name is Yan Dong. Today, the culture lecture, I will talk something about the ancient Chinese philosophers. Now let's look at the contents. This is 百家争鸣. That means the contention and the flourishing of numerous schools of thoughts. We will talk something about the first Confucianism, second Taoism, and the third Mohism, and then legalism. And then I'll give you some examples. We have to say something about the background of this 百家争鸣, the contention and the flourishing of numerous schools of thoughts. This happened in ancient China. It is called spring and autumn times. By the way, I'll say something about the history line for China, ancient China. This is about from the legendary history. It's 5,000 years BC, and also the legendary emperors and the kings, Yao Shunyu. It happened before the century of 3,000 years ago. And now comes to the slavery society, and then to Xia dynasty. And our philosophers introduced here is from East Zhou dynasty, that is in Chinese Dongzhou, that is in the year of 771 to 256 BC. Let's go on to talk something. And the Chinese philosophy influenced the ancient China and also influenced the modern society of social value and also some policies of China. So let's talk something. Its origin can be traced back to the Xia, Shang, and Zhou dynasty, and it got shaped during the spring and autumn period, and thriving developed. And also, I'd like you to try to remember this. This is in Chinese, the 百家争鸣. 百 means 100. 家 means the masters. Here means a great many of philosophers. This is the recorded in the history, and I talk something this way. Yes, let's look at it again. Confucianism, 儒家, Taoism, 道家, Mohism, 墨家, and legalism, 法家. I cannot tell you all of the philosophers. I only introduce the majority of them. First, Confucianism, 儒家思想. And the Confucianism, I can introduce briefly here to the 8 characters of this is Confucianism's core. So faithfulness, piety, benevolence, loyalty, and the ceremonies, and the wisdom, and the honesty, and forgiveness. In Chinese, 忠孝仁义礼智信术. So let's introduce something about the Confucian classics. The philosophers represented by Confucian, they have wrote a great many works. Here, I introduce 四书, the 4 books. The great learning 大学, the doctrine of the Min, 中庸, and the analect of Confucius. This is 论语 and Mencius and 孟子. This is Chinese people always say, what is 四书? And you may say, this is included the Greek learning, the doctrine, and the analects and the Mencius. And the other important majority works of Confucianism is the 5 classics, 五经. 五经 here in detail. The first one is 诗经, the book of songs by translation. And second one is 书经, the book of history. And then the book of rites, the book of changes, and finally, the spring and autumn annuals. All of these include the ancient Confucianism ideas or thoughts. About the idea of or thoughts of the ancient Confucianism, the sentence here, 礼之用，和为贵。礼之用，和为贵。What is 礼 here mentioned? 礼 is based on the important conceptual aspects of life. The most conceptual of life first is 礼 means the ceremonies associated with the sacrifice to their ancestors and the deities of the various types. And then second, in the social activities, social and the political institutions, the etiquette of daily behavior is the, by understanding, that's the ceremonies. And 礼之用，和为贵。礼之用，和为贵 means when you use the ceremonies, the first of important one is this one. 和 means harmony, peace. 贵 means the expensive one, the important one. And the elements of Confucian ideas, 义, righteousness, or by understanding, we may say it is a justice. And in early Confucianism, 义, this word, the righteous, and 礼, just now we mentioned ceremonies, are closely linked terms. 义 can be translated as the righteous or justice, and though it may simply mean what is the ethically best to do in a certain context to the people and to the country, yes, important of all. In the emperor's society, I think that 义, that means in these circumstances, be a loyalty to the empress and be faithful to the friends. Okay. So for 义, this word, they may not care more about the self-interest. They care about the right thing for the people or for friends or for the country, for the emperor. This action is good. So this word 互惠主义, that means the mutual benevolence, benefits. In fact, indeed, the so-called mutual is only emphasized the emperor and friendship. And the next central idea of Confucianism is benevolence. In Chinese, is 人. And by the surface meaning, we may understand it as love. Yes, be faithful or love to people. This is a kind of virtue, virtue, 品德, virtue, of perfectly fulfilling one's responsibilities, of love their country, love their collectives, and love the families. So this one, this word, benevolence, is the central idea. So the first sentence is from 论语 Analects, 己所不欲，勿施于人. In this regard, Confucius articulated an early version of the golden rule. That's a golden rule, the principle. Yes, here, what one does not wish for oneself, one ought not to do to anyone else. So this is a translation. You may have read it. And the next one, in my detailed teaching, I may say something about the attitude towards learning by Confucius. 三人行，必有我师焉. What does this mean? 三人, 3 person, 行, walk, 必有我师焉. 必有 must have, 我 my, 师老师 teacher, 焉 no meaning, only a tone. 三人行，必有我师焉, generally meaning in front of me, if there are 3 persons walking, there must be one thing or something I can learn from. So this is an attitude for Confucius to learn, means learn from others, learn from their advantages. And the next sentence is how the Confucius treats the family and society. He taught his students, 弟子入则孝，出则悌，泛爱众而亲仁. What does this mean? 弟子 means dear students. 入则孝 means when you are at home. When you are at home, 入 means enter at home. Yeah. 孝 means be filial to the parents and grandparents. And 出则悌. 出 here means when you go out of in the society, you should be 悌. Be friendly, be kind-hearted. 泛爱众, what does 泛爱众 mean? 泛爱众, 泛 love old people. 而亲仁 also means be very friend and kind. 行有余力，则以学文. If all these actions finished, you are still energetic, and then 则以学文. You should learn the knowledge. 文 means knowledge here. And so this sentence, 弟子出则孝，入则孝，出则悌，泛爱众而亲仁，行有余力，则以学文. This sentence, this is an attitude for Confucius, taught his students respect and be filial to the parents and grandparents. And in the society, be a good friend, be kind, and love older people. And if all this has been done, learn knowledge. Yeah, so, and then let's go on to the sentence 3. 君子食无求饱，居无求安，敏于行而慎于言，就有道而正焉。君子 means, well, students, a gentleman, a good man, a gentleman. 食无求饱，食 means eat. 无 means no. 求饱 seek for. 饱 to full. Means a gentleman, when you eat, do not eat too much. And 居无求安, when you live in a house, 无求, do not seek for. Do not seek for. 安 means comfort, luxury, too comfortable. So, 敏于行而慎于言, be quick to act. 慎于言 means be careful. 慎 means be careful. 言 means speak. So, the whole sentence could be translated like this. Well, a good gentleman, when you eat, do not eat too much. When you live, do not live in a too comfortable way. And be quick to do things and be slow to speak. The last sentence, 就有道而正焉，就有道而正焉. That means learn from the good virtued people or person to correct yourself. I hope by this explanation, you will understand what is the Confucius' central idea. The central idea is be faithful or loyalty, and be piety or be filial to the parents, benevolence, love all the people, and be friendly, and be faithful to the emperor, the society, the friends, and pay attention to the ceremonies, politeness, and should be seek for harmonies and peace. And whenever you have the energy, you should learn, be intellectual, and keep to be trustworthy, be honest, and forgiveness. And let's talk something about forgiveness. Means you may stand by one point of view, but you will forgive the differences. And in Confucius' idea, 求同存异 means seek for the similarities and just leave the differences beside you. This is a Confucius idea. Score. To the next philosopher. This is Taoism, 道家思想. Well, look at this old man. He is the founder of the philosophical Taoism. In China, when you mentioned Taoism, Tao, and there are two sides you have to notice. The first side is the philosopher. And then the second side, the other side, is the religious of Taoism. This is the founder named Lao Tzu. Lao Tzu. To Lao Tzu, we should first of all know story one. He was an librarian, at the court of Zhou dynasty. So being a librarian, that is a official, and he could, we can imagine, he could read a lot of books at that time. And in the introduction, we have to mention to the foreigners, for the overseas students here, the story too, the names get confused. Originally, he was named Li Er, yes, also be called Bo Yang, and Li Dan, Lao Dan, Lao Jun, Li Lao Jun, Tai Shang Lao Jun, and Lao Zi Dao Jun. And the Tai Shang Lao Jun, especially, is in the legendary field of the heaven. There are a god named Tai Shang Lao Jun, yes, the Lord, yeah. And in religion, the tallest Lord is called Lao Zi Dao Jun, Dao Jun. And even more, there are a great many of his names. So, in general, you should know all of these are the name of Lao Tzu. Okay, now let's turn to story 3. Story 3. He was once visited by Confucius. They were alive at the same time. And also, let's remember story 4. He vanished, he disappeared in this world without a trace. He traveled, started his journey to the west. Yes, in Chinese. So in Chinese, and by understanding of some of the Chinese religions, he has gone to the heaven. And he wrote 道德经. Yes, this is a word-by-word translation, 道德经. His works. Just now I mentioned that Confucius' works by their students, later on noted on, was Analects, 论语, and Lao Tzu, his work recorded, by recording, was all of the writer or author of 道德经. 道德经 was translated in the English words of the classics of the way and its virtue. And the purpose of this book, you will read. Now let's talk something about the Lao Tzu's idea. The Lao Tzu's idea, the central meaning, 上善若水. Yeah, 上 means the top, the first. 水, water. 若 means like. The first of or important of Lao Tzu's thoughts was something like this: to live and understanding, to live like water, to stay yourself in a lower position, and then gets to the far, far place, just like in the mountains, what stay long and go far away? Is that the stones? No, just the waters stay themselves in a lower position and just go far, far away. So the meaning of Dao or Tao. So the way of the ancients. This is a foot walking Dao. This is what? The image of a human head here. Human on the way of walking. The way of walking. Just expect the nature is what's the central meaning of Taoism. This is the first sentence of the 道德经. 道可道，非常道；名可名，非常名。Here's the translation. So we understand by this, Tao or Dao is the source of the universe and makes all the things in the universe. And the second one, I'll give you the example. 老子 thought, 道生一，一生二，二生三，三生万物 means the nature was formed by or consisted of one after another. So, and in Taoism idea, 无为 in 道德经 non-action, 无为 is mentioned in chapter 48. What is 无为 non-action? Non-action, by my understanding, it's not that you do not act. It's just understanding of the nature. The world is ruled by letting things take their course. Do not worry more. It cannot be ruled by interfering. So respect nature, non-action. And by understanding of 无为, the Taoism persuaded the emperors do not start a war, non-action. By this is a Chinese calligraphy, 清净无为, non-action. Relatively keep quietness of mind. And then the second meaning is follow the inevitable and simply move with things. So in the society's management, this is 无为, non-action means do not start a war. And about the religious Taoism, later generations developed into a lot of, branches of Taoism. This is the religion, not the philosopher. So in your readings later on, you will understand the Taoism at the first, by the first is 天师道 and 正一道 and etc. So this is something about Lao Tzu. And if I got any time, I will introduce, this is the founder of the religious Taoism. Name is Zhang Ling. And the original name is the Mi Dao. So it got the organizations right now. What I want to mention here is the religion of Taoism is the only religion founded by Chinese people. The other one, is Buddhism and the other things. After class, you read some influences in the society to the human actions in China. And what you know most maybe is the practice of Tai Chi, maybe. And the other philosophers are the Mohism. This is their ideas or thoughts. Just be attention to it and read it. And the other one, you will check to the internet legalism, 法家思想, which influenced the Qin dynasty, Qin's idea a lot. So after class, I hope you will learn the Mohism and the legalism by yourself. Time is limited. Thanks.